Good morning. What an exciting day. I remember one of my first meetings, I think maybe the first meeting that I took when I came over to the administration was with Nick Maynard. Do you remember this? We were sitting in a little coffee shop and he said, I want to pitch this idea to you. And he said, we're gonna set these ultra high-speed networks to connect all different regions across the country to transform learning and commerce and research in ways never before imaginable. You say, good luck with that. See you later. And just look at how far this project has come and really the amazing things that are already happening. Are you okay if I put my speech aside and just share a couple stories with you this morning? Sure. Okay, let's do it. The other day somebody asked me why I was excited about technology. I'm an educator at the end of the day. Why do I care about tech? And I said something that I think surprised them. I said, because it gets rid of students. And it replaces them with creators and problem solvers and designers and collaborators. And that's something that's very exciting to me. We're going to see a little bit later the demo of the Mars Rover tool, and that's going to show you exactly what I'm talking about by this transformation of getting rid of, we make students be consumers so often, just passive consumers of stuff. And technology, and especially when we combine it with high-speed connectivity, can help transform them into creators. And it's really a great time. So here's the first story. I was in South Carolina the other day, and I was talking about this sort of thing and talking about creating creators and getting everybody excited on this new vision of what technology could be for the future and how it could empower learners, and I was doing awesome, and I had them all excited, and I just knew I was reaching them and making my points and telling my jokes, and it was working out well. And I got to the end of my hour of speaking, and a teacher in the back raises her hand. I said, yes, you have a comment about the brilliant things I've been sharing with you. And she raises her hand, she goes, son, I knew I was in trouble. Right when she started by saying son, I knew I was in trouble. She said, son, you ever tried to drink peanut butter from a straw? No, ma'am, I haven't. Is that like something you do here in South Carolina? I don't know. She said, that's what it's like trying to connect in my school. I learned two things that day. One, don't mess with teachers from South Carolina. And the second is that our imagination is bounded by our infrastructure. And that is almost impossible for us to imagine and think about what a new future looks like without the infrastructure for that to live within. We have so many challenges in education, so many problems that we need to figure out solutions for, and we need infrastructure that will allow us to do that. So my message to everyone here is that this is bigger than Chattanooga and Kansas, and bigger than any one of your individual projects. We need you to be the imagination for our country when it comes to rethinking education. And this is more than just academic skills. We want those to improve too, by the way, in case you've checked at PISA scores lately. We're all for that, but it's more than just that. It's about building grit and resilience and motivation in our students. It's about closing accessibility gaps so that every student, no matter where they are, what challenges they may have, can learn in the best possible way. It's about rethinking teacher professional development and learning through new opportunities that come when we can imagine differently. Tackle the really hard challenges. Tackle the hard challenges. Final point. This is about equity. We have a belief in this country, I believe we all hold this belief, that all students have the right to a high-quality, free education, regardless of where they live, regardless of what zip code they're in, regardless of what school they go to. Every kid has that right. But every day, we fail to deliver that promise to millions of kids. And that's largely because of access and lack of access to excellent experts and equipment and things that you just don't see in many schools. So we were just a minute ago before coming in here in this other room looking at some amazing demos, and Dr. Weinberg showed telemicroscopy. See, I can't even say it. I was a Spanish teacher. Science is just way above my head. A telemicroscopy. Did I say that right? Yes. Thank you. Example. It was fantastic. We had students that were looking at and engaging with microscopes from across the country. In fact, for the example that he set up, he took pond scum from California and compared it with pond scum from Washington, D.C., and you could interact with it. And if you're interested to know the difference, the pond scum from Washington, D.C. was wearing suits and ties. But the point was, he said something that really resonated with me. He said, more discoveries have been made using microscopes as a tool than any other tool. And yet the type of microscopes that we were seeing in the other room were not available because they're frankly too expensive for any school in the country. Even really wealthy schools in the country would not be able to afford that equipment that we just saw in there. And so this sort of interaction and engagement suddenly gives access to students to the tools that they need to become inventors and creators that they never had before. And just in that moment, a chip of the equity gaps that we've had in this country sort of melted away. And this is not just about science and technology either. I was in Kansas City for the regional meeting there, and we were looking at a project that they had done with dance. So you had a chance where students were actually engaged in dance in real time with students from other parts of the country because they had ultra high-speed networks. Activities that they had to engage and participate and collaborate in ways they never would have before based on where they lived had it not been for high-speed connectivity. And so let me end by leaving a final point with you, and that is that I believe that for the first time in our country, we finally have the tools to come good on a promise that has been centuries old, to provide every student, regardless of the zip code they live in, an opportunity to have a high quality and engaging learning, and have that be delivered regardless of where they live or who they are. And you're holding those tools in your hands. You're the ones that are going to make that happen. So on behalf of the U.S. Department of Education, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being here. And on behalf of the students across the country, show us our imagination. Thank you.